Very interesting story. Alex's deep frustration was a silent, suffocating burden he carried daily. He understood countless English words, phrases, and intricate grammatical structures perfectly. Yet, speaking felt like scaling an impossible, slippery wall. The fear of making even a single, tiny mistake paralyzed him completely, trapping his thoughts within his own mind. He often pondered this baffling, persistent problem. Why did his tongue always betray his mind's clarity, refusing to articulate what he knew? He felt like a translator stuck inside his own head, constantly converting thoughts but never daring to utter them aloud. This internal struggle drained his energy significantly. One quiet evening, a sudden, powerful spark of inspiration gently stirred within him. He resolved to transform his entire learning approach, abandoning old habits that hadn't served him well. No more silent understanding, he declared softly to himself, a determined whisper in the quiet room. This marked a profound turning point. His journey began with a simple, yet profoundly challenging, commitment. He would write one full page in English, without fail, every single day. This wasn't about achieving immediate literary perfection. It was purely about consistent, daily production and engaging with the language actively. He wrote about his mundane day, his deepest thoughts, and even his wildest dreams. This daily writing exercise soon evolved into a therapeutic ritual for him. It forced him to recall vocabulary and construct sentences actively, something his passive understanding rarely demanded from him. This consistent daily practice was his initial step towards talking in English just one page per day. It gradually transformed his internal monologue from his native tongue to English, fostering a deeper connection. The silent page became his first brave space for expression. Next, Alex tackled the crucial aspect of how to learn words effectively. He had always tried memorizing lists, which proved futile quickly. He realized understanding context was undeniably king for truly acquiring new vocabulary and retaining it long-term, not rote memorization. He started keeping a dedicated notebook specifically for unfamiliar English expressions. It wasn't just for definitions. He meticulously wrote down example sentences where the word naturally appeared. This practical application helped solidify their meaning and usage vividly. He learned new words and themes, associating them with related concepts or situations. For example, all kitchen-related vocabulary together, or words describing emotions in a cluster. This strategic grouping made vocabulary acquisition genuinely engaging and far more intuitive for him. Then came the undeniable, transformative power of reading, a revelation. He began with simplified English stories, children's books even, before courageously moving on to full-fledged novels. He quickly understood why reading is so important for language acquisition and fluency. Reading exposed him naturally to countless new sentence structures daily. It widened his vocabulary organically, almost effortlessly, by encountering words in meaningful contexts. He discovered new idioms, common phrases, and nuanced expressions simply by immersing himself in books. Reading profoundly improved his overall comprehension and fluency too. It trained his brain to recognize patterns and anticipate meanings, enhancing his passive understanding significantly. Each page turned was a small victory, building a robust foundation for future speaking. But speaking English remained the formidable Everest he still needed to conquer. He constantly revisited his internal question. I don't want to make mistakes, but I always do. Why? This fear of imperfection gripped him tightly, stifling his voice consistently. He slowly began to reframe his perspective on errors, a monumental shift in mindset. He started understanding that mistakes were not failures to be avoided, they were, in fact, crucial learning opportunities, invaluable signposts on his path to mastery. Each blunder, each mispronounced word or grammatical slip, revealed an area needing more attention or focused practice. This profound mindset shift was profoundly liberating for Alex's spirit. The pressure to be flawless began to dissipate slowly but surely. He realized that effective communication was far more important than achieving flawless grammar or perfect pronunciation from the very beginning. Getting his message across, even imperfectly, was the true goal. This realization empowered him greatly. Following this epiphany, Alex decided it was time to actively start talking at home, even if only to himself initially. He would describe objects around his apartment, narrate his daily actions aloud, and even hold imaginary conversations privately. This crucial, solitary step built foundational confidence, slowly but surely, away from judgmental eyes. He practiced forming sentences and articulating thoughts without the pressure of an audience. It was awkward at first, but incredibly beneficial for him. He found himself describing his breakfast aloud. I am eating scrambled eggs with toast. The coffee is hot. This simple act activated his speaking muscles and brain pathways, turning passive knowledge into active, spoken language effortlessly. Then came the next logical step, how to talk to people in pairs. He understood that while solitary practice was good, real interaction was essential. He needed a safe, supportive environment to practice conversational English with another human being. He sought out a language exchange partner online, carefully sifting through profiles for compatibility. He eventually found a kind, patient individual named Leo, a native English speaker from Canada, who was eager to learn Alex's native tongue in exchange. Their very first conversation was predictably awkward, filled with nervous silences and hesitant pauses. Alex stammered frequently, his mind racing desperately for the right words, often feeling overwhelmed by the quick pace of natural speech. But Leo was incredibly encouraging, focusing empathetically on the message Alex was trying to convey, not on his pronunciation or grammatical perfection. This supportive environment immediately eased Alex's tension, making him feel less vulnerable. They decided to talk for 30 minutes, 3 times every week. This structured, talking in pairs, practice was incredibly effective. It provided consistent, low-pressure opportunities to apply everything Alex had been learning diligently. Alex's fluency improved dramatically with each passing session, almost miraculously. The more he spoke, the less hesitant he became. Mistakes still happened, but now he viewed them as valuable feedback rather than embarrassing failures. He also made a concerted effort to listen English actively and consistently. Podcasts, English audiobooks, and documentaries on topics he enjoyed became his constant companions throughout the day. This passive immersion was vital. He listened actively, not just passively hearing sounds. He tried to grasp nuances, different accents, and the natural rhythm of spoken English. This constant exposure greatly enhanced his overall comprehension abilities, making listening less daunting. Soon, understanding rapid English conversations became almost second nature to him. His ears were trained, and his brain processed the incoming language with remarkable ease. This listening foundation bolstered his speaking confidence further. The words that once felt trapped behind a wall of fear now flowed more freely, less hesitantly from his lips. He was no longer crippled by the intense fear of making any mistake. He embraced them completely as part of the learning process. His previous frustration of, "I understand English but I can't speak well," slowly but surely faded into a distant memory. The gap between his comprehension and his articulation narrowed significantly with every passing day of dedicated practice. Alex realized his entire English learning journey was not truly about reaching some elusive, perfect endpoint. It was fundamentally about consistent, dedicated effort, embracing imperfections openly, and finding genuine joy in the daily practice. His confidence in himself soared, truly transforming his life for the better, opening new doors. He could now articulate his thoughts clearly, powerfully, and genuinely, connecting with people in ways he never imagined possible before. The silent understanding that had once defined his English experience had finally blossomed into confident, articulate speaking. Alex felt a profound sense of accomplishment and renewed purpose, forever grateful for his persistent dedication and bravery. He continued his daily page of English, a testament to his initial commitment. It served as a constant reminder of how far he had come, a written record of his evolving thoughts and growing linguistic capabilities. The methodical learning of words through context remained a cornerstone of his vocabulary expansion. He found that words learned this way stuck much better than any flashcard ever could, making his efforts more efficient. His dedication to reading intensified, becoming a beloved daily ritual. From captivating fiction to informative non-fiction, he devoured books, continually absorbing new structures and expressions, enriching his linguistic palette significantly. He often reflected on why reading is so important. It wasn't just about learning words. It was about internalizing the very rhythm and flow of the language, building an intuitive sense of what sounded right and natural. The habit of talking at home persisted, a private rehearsal space. He would practice presentations, argue imaginary points, and even compose small speeches, all in English, refining his delivery and clarity in solitude. His regular sessions of talking to people in pairs with Leo became indispensable. These real-time interactions forced him to think on his feet, respond spontaneously, and navigate the unpredictable currents of live conversation fluidly. They discussed current events, personal stories, and cultural differences, making the conversations both educational and deeply engaging. This human connection fueled his motivation to continue pushing his boundaries further. The initial struggle of, "I don't want to make mistakes, but I always why," transformed into acceptance. He now understood that errors were simply feedback loops, guiding him towards greater accuracy rather than holding him back from progress. He actively sought out corrections from Leo, welcoming them as gifts rather than criticisms. This open attitude accelerated his learning curve immensely, allowing him to fix recurring errors efficiently and effectively. The initial lament of, "I understand English but I can't speak well," had vanished. He now spoke with an ease that often surprised even himself, articulating complex ideas with a fluency he once only dreamed of achieving. Consistent listening to English also remained a paramount part of his routine. He embraced diverse accents and speaking styles, ensuring his comprehension was robust across a wide spectrum of spoken English, from casual chats to formal lectures. He loved discovering new podcasts on obscure hobbies, realizing that learning English could be intertwined with his personal interests. This made the listening practice feel less like a chore and more like an enjoyable exploration. His journey was a testament to the power of consistent, multifaceted practice. No single method alone was the answer. It was the harmonious combination of reading, writing, listening, and speaking that yielded true results. He often shared his story, encouraging others who faced similar struggles. Start small, he would advise, just 1 page a day, or 10 minutes of listening. Consistency is your most powerful ally in this journey. He stressed the importance of finding one's own comfort zone for initial practice. Start talking at home, where no one judges, he'd say. Build that internal confidence first before facing the external world. And for those who felt stuck, understanding but unable to speak, he'd emphasize the value of talking to people in pairs. Real interaction, even with a single partner, was irreplaceable for developing conversational fluency. He often reflected on his fear of mistakes. "I don't want to make mistake, but I always why," he'd remember thinking. "But now I know, mistakes are proof that you're trying, they are lessons disguised as blunders." Alex's transformation was evident in every conversation he had. His voice carried a newfound authority and a genuine warmth, reflecting the confidence he had painstakingly cultivated over time through sheer dedication. He recognized that fluency was not about eradicating an accent or speaking exactly like a native. It was about expressing oneself clearly, confidently, and authentically, building connections across linguistic barriers with ease. His initial dream of merely understanding English but I can't speak well had expanded into a vibrant reality of active participation. He could now contribute meaningfully to discussions, shared jokes, and articulate complex ideas. The simple act of immersing himself in English content daily, especially through active listening, had reshaped his auditory comprehension. He effortlessly navigated nuanced conversations, understanding both literal and implied meanings with precision. His journey became a source of profound inspiration for many others. It showed that with perseverance, strategic practice, and a positive mindset, anyone could overcome linguistic hurdles and unlock their full communicative potential effectively. Alex truly embodied the spirit of continuous improvement, proving that learning a language is an ongoing, rewarding adventure. His story became a living testament to the power of unwavering commitment and self-belief. And so, Alex, the quiet struggler, became Alex, the confident communicator, his voice echoing with the clarity and purpose he once thought unattainable. His journey was a beacon of hope for all aspiring English learners. His story was indeed a very interesting one, a narrative of transformation. He learned words, practiced English, embraced reading's importance, talked at home, conversed in pairs, conquered mistakes, spoke well, and truly listened.